There's our answer. Hello, everyone, or anyone, if you're out there yet. I know we're still coming up on 10 a.m. Pacific time if you're here. All right, we do have a smiley face from Bethany. Thank you for joining, Bethany, for
Hey,
sharing
Bethany.
that. All right, nice. We have some Floridians here as well, or at least one. Feel free to post in the chat where you are joining from or what your role is even, just to give us a sense of Duval, just to give us a sense of where you're, you know, coming in from and what you're looking for today. We'll get started in just a few minutes. California is a big state. Where in California are you? All right, we got a resource manager in healthcare, IT, cool. San Jose, nice. Very cool. Julio, where are you located? I mean, I
I'm
know, but
in
for the people.
I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Minneapolis. I'm in
Anyone's from
Washington
Minnesota?
State.
Let me
Yep, we
know.
got a lot of people all over. Um,
Just testing something out.
Questions, Julio?
No, not yet.
All right. Uh, I'm the assistant compliance manager. All right. And then also help with employee engagement. Cool. All right. So a remote team. Okay, cool. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. And new manager. Awesome. This, I think, will be just from what I know about you all so far, this will be very relevant to your roles. And I'm excited to talk with you. Let's see, probably just a couple more minutes to give people time to roll in, finish their muffin and sip of coffee or water. Great. Just for some context on our end, we are not able to see you, unfortunately, but we can get your messages. So feel free to post those in the chat if you have any questions throughout this discussion. We'll get into it here more in a minute, but you can always use that chat and we'll respond to you throughout. Good question, Bethany. Yes, a recording will be sent out of this after the fact as well, and we'll also have it posted on our website, so you'll be able to revisit it or share it with others. All right, and I think what do you think, Julio? You ready to kick things into gear? Oh, you're on mute, or I would know.
Hey, I think so. It's 12:03
Cool.
Central. If you want, we can give it another minute or two, but totally up to you, Galena.
I think we're ready to go.
Cool.
All righty. So I will share my screen and we'll hop into things here. And just waiting to confirm. Let me know, Julio, once you're able to see my screen.
I can see your screen.
All right, great. Thank you. Okay, cool. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the webinar today. I am so excited to have you here and to talk about this. We have some new features that we've rolled out, so just exciting to be able to connect with you all about them, and hopefully, have this discussion ultimately help you utilize Kudoboard more effectively within your organization so that you can get more impact out of the system. My name is Galena. I am a customer success manager here. I work with customers of all different sizes to help them get, like I was saying, the most use out of their plan. So ultimately, we want people to use our site so that, your culture within your organization improves, retention improves, the employee experience improves. So that's what I work with customers on. I'll pass it over to Julio quickly, and then we'll move on for him to introduce himself.
Yeah. Hey, y'all. I have the same role as Galena. I'm a customer success manager, so I primarily work with folks just like yourselves to make sure they're getting the most out of their account and yeah, hitting the goals they want with Kudoboard. Yeah, I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota. If anyone else is from Minnesota, let me know. So don't mind.
Nice. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So, one of you has already asked, but yes, this meeting will be recorded and is being recorded right now. So if you want to follow up on this at a later date, if there's anything that you didn't catch fully or want to revisit, you'll have access to this recording. And then also, I encourage you to note who else might be interested in learning more about this. If there are other managers within your organization or executive assistants or anyone that really this material touches within the work that they do, please feel free to share this recording with them after the fact as well so that they can learn about these tools. All right. So let's get to the main discussion today. When we're talking about Kudoboard, there's a lot of different components that we can be talking about, that we could be talking about. So today we're going to focus on specifically how to scale recognition that feels genuine. And I want to take a moment to reflect here briefly for you all. So this is, I can't see you, but I'm still asking you to participate. Have you ever in your employment received recognition that does not feel personal, that does not feel individualized? And if so, think about how that made you feel. Okay. Yes, maybe the wheels are turning here. And on the other side of things, think about when you have received recognition that does feel individualized to you. Think about the difference in experience that that provides. Maybe a bit more positive of an experience. I see some messages coming in the chat, so I'll open that up as well. Oops. Let's see. Well, I can't access that right now. So Julio, you'll have to be my translator here. But the reason that I ask you to reflect on those things is because Kudoboard, what we're known for, is really allowing people to share that personalized appreciation. But with any personalized appreciation, we also need to consider how do we do that at scale? How do we make individual people feel seen, but do that within our whole organizations? So that is the main problem that we're going to get at today. And let's proceed to talk about specifically what we'll be discussing to get at that larger topic. So, number one, I've mentioned it already, but in case you weren't here, Julio will be fielding questions throughout this conversation in the chat. So, if you have any questions that you want answered, or if you want to bring it up more fully as a part of this discussion, feel free to post there. We'll also have a Q&A at the end of this webinar, so you can also save your questions till then. So, second component of this conversation is I want to really root us in the create a board experience. And so, if you're at this meeting today, I imagine that you have already created a board in your past. This is something that you're familiar with. So, we won't belabor the point. We will only spend a brief time on this. But I want to start there so that we know as we talk about these other features that are available on the plan, we know how those differentiate from that original kind of OG create a board experience. Then moving on to point number three here, if you are a manager, so I saw some of that in the chat earlier, if you are a manager within your organization, if you are an executive assistant, if you are a person responsible for sharing recognition with your team or department, like for birthdays, work anniversaries, other types of recognition, point number three, the simplify team celebrations will be very relevant for you all. We're going to talk about that like kind of one, people-powered approach to simplifying team celebrations. Point number four, we'll move on to a conversation about automations at the org-wide level. So as opposed to it being people-powered, having you on the back end create the content, the boards themselves, we'll talk about how that process, that board creation can be automated so that you allow more room for people to spend time on the part that really matters, which is that individual appreciation sharing. And then finally, we'll end. Well, I guess I should also mention that in that automation section, we're also going to talk about the Kudoboard API. And if that sounds like big and lofty and confusing to you right now, that makes sense. We'll get more into what it means when we get to that point. Finally, mentioned it before, but we'll end with a Q&A. So, keep your questions or ask them throughout, but know that you have plenty of opportunity to get your questions answered. All right. Anything on your end before we start, Julio?
No, you did great, Galena, with summarizing everything. The only thing I guess to echo is that if you do
Yeah.
have questions during the chat, yeah, or while Galena is speaking, just put them in the chat and I will get to you as soon as possible. Yeah, sit on mind.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So let's go into this create a board overview. So again, this will be very relevant for all of you because you've all probably already done it. When you are in your site, when you're in your account, you'll click Create New. For the sake of this demo, I'm just going to quickly say this Create a Board option, although you can also create a card with just one post on it. And then, of course, you can send a gift through Kudoboard too. So I'll mention those, but let's stick to the Create a Board option for the sake of this demo. At this point, you're going to select which type of board that you want to create. Let's say that it is, in this case, Julio's work anniversary, which I think is coming up, Julio. Is that true? Um, so we'll stick to Julio as an example. And for that, we'll select this special occasion use. And for the occasion, we'll select the years of service anniversary. For the recipient, we'll go ahead and enter Julio. And then the title will say Happy Day J, whatever it is. So we have a title of our board, we have the recipient, and then we've also filled out the occasion. If you have gift cards enabled, again, another mention, you can choose to include one here. Sorry, Julio, but not today is not your day. Okay, so we'll just select next here for now. Once you land on your board, again, you all are so familiar with this, you're professionals, but you have the chance to customize the look and feel of the board. You can change the background, you can add your post, all of that good stuff. That's not what we're going to focus on today. We're just going to focus on the essentials. So we know that let's say that Julio's work anniversary is on September 1st. So I want to set this board up for delivery on September 1st so that he can be sure to enjoy the board on his actual, work anniversary. So I'll enter his email address and I will schedule the board delivery for let's say September 1st, and then save those changes. Okay, delivery is scheduled. I can always see a summary of of when the board will be delivered under that delivery option there. And now, before the board is delivered, I also want to make sure that I'm inviting people to post on the board. So I'll click into this invite contributors area. I can, send a link to people. If you are connected with Slack or Teams on Pro and Enterprise plans, you can send invitations that way. But again, for the sake of this demo, let's choose a really common way to invite people, which is just to have our system send people an invite directly to post on the board. So in this case, I would enter all of the people that I want to post on the board. I want Jalen to post on the board. I want Aaron to post on the board. I want Amy to post on the board. So all of these individuals, I'm going to enter them in and have them be invited to post. Okay, once I am happy with all of the people who I've added to that list of invitations, I'm going to select that send invites button and they'll be sent an invitation immediately. Okay, this is all day one stuff. Okay, just review because I know you've done it before, but I want to again start there so that as we move into these other conversations, have that foundation in mind so we know which pieces of that can be expedited and made more efficient to help you do more celebrations at scale. And as we proceed through this part of the conversation, I also want to mention that there are features that we'll talk about that apply to everyone along the Kudoboard spectrum, no matter if you're creating boards on a one-by-one basis or if you have a premium package, if you have a business plan or a pro plan or an enterprise plan. We are going to discuss features that are available all throughout those plan types, and I'll be sure to, demarcate or tell you when we're talking about a feature that is only available on select plan types so that you have that in mind if you already have access to it or if you need to go to another plan in order to utilize that tool. Okay, so team celebrations. So again, I want to go back to what I said in the agenda review. This section is really, I think, really most applicable for people who oversee celebrations within their teams or departments. So if you are a manager of your team, I know that some people share that in the chat, or if you're an executive assistant, or if you have any other role that oversees celebrations like work anniversaries, birthdays, etc., this topic will be quite rich for you, hopefully. All right, so I'll go back into my demo site here and we'll get started with that feature list. So I'll go to the home page and I want to start with a new feature, one that I was referencing earlier that is really, really cool and hopefully going to be impactful for you. But it's this calendar feature. And this is a feature that everyone has availability to access or has access to. You don't have to be, on any specific plan type. All of you here, if you log into Kudoboard, will have access to this. So please utilize this tool. The calendar feature, just like any calendar, will give you a bird's eye view into all of the events that are happening within your purview. So you can add a reminder to your own account that will appear on your calendar on a one-by-one basis. You can add someone's name, the occasion, like years of service anniversary, and then when the occasion is actually scheduled for. So you can add these on a one-by-one basis. You can also make this an annual reminder so that you're not always coming into your site, each year having to enter Julio's work anniversary yet again. You can make this a yearly occurrence. So one by one, that's great, right? But it is still a bit manual. So how else might you be able to add important events to your own Kudoboard calendar? You can also upload a sheet that has as many events as you'd like that and also contains the same columns of information. So the occasion itself, the person's name who's celebrating their special day, it's Amy's birthday, let's say, so I could upload Amy's name, birthday, and the occasion of her birthday itself. And once you upload, again, you have the option to set that as an annual reminder. Once you upload all of these events, you'll be able to see them all in this calendar view. Now, as far as notifications, like do you have to log into Kudoboard in order to review your calendar, or how else are you being notified that these occasions are actually upcoming? Well, there is this option under email notifications that allows you to select the type of notification pattern you'd like to engage with. So, do you just want a reminder to be sent to you to create a board 1 week before, let's say, Luca's work anniversary? Or do you want as well, or maybe only, a monthly digest to be sent to you? So in this case, a monthly digest, one email would be sent alerting you that all of these events are happening within the month of September 2026. So you can decide your notification. That's hard to say sometimes. Notification schema. I don't know. I was trying to make that a tongue twister, but you have the ability to set that up in a way that makes most sense for you. Okay, I'm going to pause there really quick. Julia, are there any questions or anything that have come up so far in the chat that would lend to this conversation?
No, the only question we've gotten so far is about how to create a book from a board, but
Oh,
nothing
okay.
currently with regards to this. Yeah.
Okay,
If
cool.
you have them,
Thank
throw them in the chat.
Yeah, good. Another plug. Okay, cool. So once these events have been added to your calendar, what you can do is any board that you have already created via this Create CTA, you'll see that little marker here. So you'll easily be able to distinguish what has already been created and what still needs to be created. For the boards that have not yet been created, you'll see this again, call to action to create the board. Um, so let's go ahead and do that because once you create a board from the calendar, the process is also expedited. And we'll see exactly what I mean by that. So when I click create from our calendar, I see that already the years of service, let's see, the years of service is already filled in as the occasion. So if you'll recall to that original demo of the board creation process, we initially had to scroll through and find the correct occasion that we wanted to list this board as. Then the recipient is already filled out because we've already added that information to our calendar. We can then, happy day, Jay. Again, we can add the same title just to carry on with, the kind of trolling Julio situation here for this whole webinar. Um, so you would just enter your title. That already saves you a couple clicks in this process. Select next. You have the ability to determine whether you want to, again, create a board with multiple posts to invite the whole team to contribute, or if you want only a card with one post on it. For the sake of this demo, let's carry on with this board example. Again, you can select if you want to have a gift associated with the board. And again, I apologize, but today is not the day again. Okay, so I'll select next. Just like last time, you have the ability to customize the board in whatever way you want. So you can add your background, you can add your post, you can make it look like you want it to look. But let's again focus on the essentials. So just like we did last time, I'm going to schedule the delivery of this board. And this is the one that was created via calendar, right? And the calendar, the celebration for Julio's work anniversary is on September 1st. So I will enter Julio's email address just like we did last time. I'll schedule the delivery for September 1st and I'll save those changes. Delivery scheduled. Now I will invite contributors back to this email option that we discussed in the first iteration of this process. We will go to invite contributors. Oh, I'll invite individuals to this board. I can start adding them all again. No, please, I encourage you, don't do this on a one-by-one basis if you don't have to. There is a feature that we offer called groups, and this is a feature that is available on Pro and Enterprise plans. Groups, much like the name would suggest, allows you to create a group of users on your site so that if you find yourself inviting the same conglomerate of people over and over, it'll save you from having to enter all of their individual email addresses in each time that you invite them to a board. Or if you want to tag someone on a board, a whole group of people, you can tag that group. You can even deliver a board to an entire group. So let's use this full team group as an example. I've already added 19 people to this group, and these are all of the people in that group. So instead of entering individual people's emails, I'll instead enter that group name, that full team group. And because we've already added Julio's delivery information, his email into this delivery section, you'll see that he is automatically excluded from receiving the invite to this board. So the surprise won't be ruined for his celebration. All right, let's see. One final call out that I want to make is after you confirm the group here, we'll proceed to send invites, just like we did last time, unless there's also the option on business, pro, and enterprise, or excuse me, pro and enterprise plans to schedule the invitations to be sent. So instead of sending the invitations right now when you're creating the board, you can schedule them for some time in the future to be sent. So let's say that 1 week before the delivery date on September 1st, we want this board to be sent to all of those contributors that we invited in the group. I'll go ahead and save those changes. Oh, submission failed. Well, you can understand what that would do. So now, if I go back to my homepage and my calendar, the reason that I'm going through these steps is because I want to make clear that with the calendar, with the scheduled delivery, with the inviting user groups, and scheduling that invite to be sent at a later date, what this gives you the possibility to do as, someone who manages celebrations within your team or department, etc., is you could theoretically, and we've seen this, go into your site and create all of these boards at one time. You could schedule each of them for delivery. You could schedule the invite to be sent. You could invite user groups to all of these boards to be invited at that later date, so that you only have to do this. Sure, it's a little bit more work up front, but you only have to do this once per year, even. This way, as events come up all throughout the year, you aren't having to hop back in your site, your account, and create a board and send those invites or schedule those deliveries. You're doing that all in the same sitting so that you aren't as, responsible for seeing things ad hoc throughout the year. Does that make sense? Any questions so far? Julio, you want to be my my eyes there?
No questions so far,
Okay.
but Bethany said that she was really glad that like the groups automatically excludes the
Yes,
recipient, and we are
totally. Yes, very helpful. It would kind of be a bummer to have that recipient automatically invited.
um Delaney, we do have a question from Rachel May.
Okay.
If you add new users to existing groups, will it
Uh-huh.
update the list to will update the list to pre-scheduled events?
Good question. I think we're gonna have to follow up with you on that one. I'm not sure off the top of my head. Julio, do you know?
I'm not sure either, actually. We'll reach out to engineering product and see what they have to say and get back to you directly, Rachel, and everyone else too.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Rachel, good. I like that attention to detail there. Okay, so let's proceed now. So that's kind of the first chunk of the conversation. All right. This is how, like, if you are one person on your team, how you operate to make celebrations happen at scale within your, like, smaller purview. But let's now go to that conversation about how celebrations can happen across your entire organization from kind of the org level down. So specifically, we're going to be talking about the automations that we offer, and then also the Kudoboard API. Okay, so and I should mention as well that in this section, the automations and the API, this is specific to enterprise plans. So you need to be on one of those plan types in order to access or on that plan type in order to access these features. So the first thing is first, when I am on an enterprise site and I go to my admin panel, I go to my users tab, I'll be able to see all of the users on my site, and I'll also be able to add birthdays, work start dates, and managers for all of these users, which is what powers the automations. We actually need, that data in order to know when people's work anniversaries are, who their managers are, so who to get in touch with once those boards are created. We also, on these plans, offer integrations with your HRIS. So we have different integration options, but this just allows this data to upload automatically, update automatically, so that you, as the point of contact for your Kudoboard account, aren't having to manually fill this out or keep up with new hires or, archive users who are no longer active. So the integration takes care of that for you. Let's see. So in the automations tab of your admin panel, you'll see that there are three different automation types that we offer. The first is new hire welcomes, new employee welcomes. When someone new joins the team, the rest of the team that they're joining maybe greets them and says hello. Or maybe it's just a card that says hello from the organization overall. We'll get into some specific examples so you'll see. The next is birthdays. And the final one that we currently offer is for work anniversaries. So, how do automations actually function? We've talked about like appreciation needing to be personalized in order to really hit. So, does that still apply when we're talking about automations? And the answer is yes. So, let's explore how that happens. In your automation settings, you'll first see the option, we've talked about this multiple times now, to create a board or a card. So a board allows multiple posts, a card just has one post. So maybe you just want to create something that's automatically sent to a new hire, but you're not inviting everyone to post on it. You just want that like welcome message to acknowledge their arrival. For the sake of the work anniversary option, let's choose this board template. The next, because that is the most common, a lot of people have, for work anniversaries, you want to share with your teammates how much they mean to you. And you have a lot of experience working with people, like you build up stories that you want to like repeat back and say why they're meaningful. So work anniversaries, specifically for automations, is a great time to do a board. And that's what we see within our customer base, lots of boards created for work anniversaries. So next step with automations is to customize your template. So this is the template that will automatically be copied for each new person's work anniversary in this case. You can add as many template posts as you'd like to your board, to your template board. You can add dynamic data to your template so that people's anniversary year automatically applies customizes in the title. You can add their name so that their name is actually in the title. Oftentimes, what we see for the template posts that are added here is like a message from the CEO, so that across all work anniversary boards that are created, there is this connection between people higher up in leadership and, everyone else in the organization. So whether that's like a greeting, a greeting video from the CEO. We oftentimes see that where a video is posted on the board saying, "Hey, we're so happy, you're on the team, you do great work," whatever it is. But that can help kind of, bridge different parts of your organization. So once you're happy with how your template looks, you'll exit the editor and proceed with your settings. Now there's multiple settings here, but I'm not going to go through all of them for the sake of this conversation. What I really want to focus on is that 2 weeks in this case, so I guess I shouldn't start there, but you can customize how many weeks before the event you want your board to be automatically created. So you can make that 1 week, 2 weeks, or 4 weeks. Let's say for this one, let's switch it to 1 week. So 1 week before someone's anniversary date, we want that template that we just created to be copied and sent. So what happens to it after it's created? you can determine who the board is sent to. Because we have information about who the recipient's manager is, we can automatically invite the recipient's manager to post on this board. We can also choose to invite the recipient's circle. So, what is a recipient's circle? I will show you what you have ability to customize here. A recipient circle, because we have manager data in the system, in this case, with your HRIS integration, you have the option to invite the recipient's manager's manager, all the recipients' direct reports, and then all the recipients' peers. So everyone who reports to the same manager. So this is all to say that back in our automation settings, when we invite the recipient circle, basically, the intent is to invite all of their peers automatically. So in this case, back, compared to that creating a board one-off, we have not done any of the manual work of that process besides setting up our automation settings and the template. Otherwise, the creation of the board is automated and the invites of the board is automated and the delivery is already scheduled because we have the recipient's, information about when the board should be delivered. So all that this is leaving room for is for people to actually focus, again, largely on the part that matters, not so much the admin tasks behind the scene, but their actual posts, the stories that they share, the appreciation that they give. This allows room for that. Okay. Think that is all. Oh, no. I also want to talk briefly about the card automation, and then we'll proceed to that last API piece. So I mentioned that there is the card option as well. Let's take the birthday template as an example. So oftentimes for birthdays, we see cards being created via automations. And in this case, you set up your template and you only have one post on that card. You can, again, customize specific details within the card content or the envelope itself, so it says someone's first name. But in this case, you're not inviting anyone else to post on the card because there's only room enough for one post. Instead, you're just having this card automatically created and automatically delivered to someone on their birthday. And what we see with, birthday cards specifically is that they're pretty popular within our customer base because if you're inviting people to share the whole team to share their birthday wishes over and over for different people, I mean, how many different ways can you say happy birthday to someone? Their birthdays are great, and I'm not trying to discourage that. And if you have, if birthdays are your thing within your organization, then I support you. You know your organization best. But this is an alternative to still recognize people for that special day, but also not include the whole team to, try to find creative ways to say happy birthday again. So that is a small look into the card automation. Okay, I will pause. Kudo, I just referred to you as Kudoboard, Julio. Julio, is there anything else that you want to bring up before we move into this last piece?
The one thing I wanted to bring up was with regard to Rachel May's question about
Okay.
if users are added, new
Oh,
users
yeah.
are added to existing like pre-scheduled events. They
Hmm.
are.
Cool.
So yeah, so it would update anyone that's added to that user group and send them out invites as well. Yeah.
Woo, nice. Real-time
No one's-
support. Thanks, Julio. Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks, Amy.
Thanks, Amy. Teamwork makes the dream work. Okay. Cool. So the last piece that I want to talk about today is also available on enterprise plans. And I haven't mentioned this yet, but if you are curious about learning about any of these features, I think Julio, please post a link in the chat. You can connect with a member of our team to learn more about these features, to see demos of these features, and just have conversations about, how you might be able to utilize them. So if anything sticks out as really relevant, please don't hesitate to schedule some time with us, including for this API feature. So while our automations for new hires, work anniversaries, and birthdays allow you to automate those specific dates, there's also the option to utilize our API to automate dates that or to automate events that happen within your organization that are specific to your organization and the timing that they happen within your organization. So let's go into some examples because that can be kind of confusing. One example would be, let's say that for like someone within your team is in your CRM, is in Salesforce, let's say, and they close a sale. They mark an opportunity as closed won. In this case, once that opportunity the opportunity status in Salesforce has changed from, collaborating or open or whatever to to closed won, you could have our system automatically create a board to say congratulations to the person who made that sale. So in that case, you might send Kyle a card after he has made a sale to congratulate him on the good work. And again, this would be custom to the timing that it happens within your organization. You can set up, what these specific triggers are when you want cards or boards to be automatically created. A few more examples, say that in a job offer has been made. So in your ATS system, a candidate has moved to that final round and has been offered a position within your organization. Maybe at that point, a board, you send a trigger to our system, or that is the trigger that sends an alert to our system to automatically create a board. So that in this case, let's say, the whole team is then invited to the board so that they can say, hey, congrats on the offer. We hope you join. A few more examples. Say someone gets a promotion. So in your HRIS system, someone's role changes from this to that. Once that change happens, that trigger sends an alert to our system to automatically create, let's say, a board so that you are congratulating that person on their promotion. So these different, there are for farewells, if someone's, the HRIS changes to have a departure date for someone specific. Maybe a board is created, maybe a card is created. Maybe you want to celebrate customer milestones. Say someone has been a customer with you for 1 year and they've hit that 1 year anniversary within your customer success platform. A card could be automatically created, etc. Julio has a link that he'll share to share even more examples of all of the things that you can do. But note that what all we talked about today is not an exhaustive list. Basically, anything that you would want to automate within your organization, you can do that with Kudoboard so long as the Kudoboard API, so long as there is a trigger within your system that would prompt our system to create that board or card. So that is the final piece of the main topics that I wanted to cover today, that we wanted to cover. And just to recap all of the things, because we have covered a lot and I've been talking at you for a long time, so thank you for hanging in there. But we've covered the Kudoboard calendar. All of you have access to this. We've talked about inviting user groups. We've talked about scheduling invites. We've talked about board and card automations. And then we've also talked about the Kudoboard API. So lots of stuff to dive into. Please, again, don't hesitate to schedule time with us. If any of these things would be helpful for you, just schedule some time and we'll talk more. Okay, Q&A. Also, I just want to mention we're not at the end yet, but thank you all again for joining. Really appreciate your time and your energy. I know not all of this may be directly applicable to you, so thank you for hanging in there for wherever it is applicable to you. So we have a few minutes left for a Q&A. Are there any questions that have come rolling in, Julio, or any that anyone has now that they can post?
No questions that have come in yet, but we'll give it
Okay,
another minute or two and see if anyone has any questions.
sounds good. How about for you, Julio? Has anything come up for you during this conversation that you think was left uncertain?
No, I would just say that like I'm really a huge proponent of the automations feature for large organizations. It just makes it so easy for folks in on a people team or HR team
Hmm.
to celebrate everyone for these big, and recurring milestones. So if you do have a plan that supports automations already and you haven't set anything up,
Yeah.
please feel free to reach out to us at success@kudoboard.com. Gillian or myself are happy to go in and like discuss best practices when it comes to automations. Yeah, other than that, the API feature I'm really stoked on as well, just because I think it will help streamline celebrating other occasions like the ones Gillian mentioned. If someone's getting a promotion or if they've made a sale, if someone's going on like paternal leave, whatever the case is, like we can integrate these other tools you already have to celebrate your teammates. Yeah, so we're really stoked on that as well.
Totally. Cool. Thank you. All right. When you're in front of people, it's so annoying how I can't even figure out how to open up the chat. I hope other people have dealt with this before. It sounds like such a nerdy issue to run into, but I think then we'll give it just 30 more seconds, but if no one has questions, you probably already have started to drop off. But again, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you joining this, and thanks for, having interest in Kudo Board overall. Not only does it mean something to us, but it really means something to the people that you work with. So thanks for being culture champions in that way. And take care. Okay.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Thank you.